a selfish and reluctant king ruling the kingdom? Well, that's what happened in 1789 in France, in what we call the French Revolution. This is the French Revolution in plain English. During the 18th century, France was ruled under a system called the Old Regime, where everything was ruled under absolutism, which means in a monarchy, in which the French citizens were divided into three social classes. The first estate were the clergies, the church people, and the second estate were the aristocrats and nobles. Lastly, there's the third estate, which were the merchants and the peasants. The first and second estate had privilege of not paying tax, while the third estate were being treated harshly and had to pay tax for the bankruptcy of France at the time. Although the third estate had a lot more people than the first and second estate, however, they could only fight back through an unfair voting system. Every time the third estate tries to fight back, the first and second estates would always suppress them by collaborating with each other. Even the king ignored this unfair situation. Under what people called the divine right of the king, no one was able to challenge the authority of the king, so the third estate cannot do anything about it. Moreover, King Louis XVI even locked the third estate outside of the meeting hall during the estate's general meeting. This act has completely angered the third estate.
They responded by relocating to a nearby tennis court on June 20, 1789, where the members vowed to stay together and created a written constitution for France. On June 23, 1789, Louis XVI relented. On August 4, 1789, the Third Estate announced itself as the National Assembly. He ordered the three estates to meet as the National Assembly and vote by population on a constitution for France. The tennis court oath changed French thoroughly. It also led to other major events like the attack on the Bastille and the Declaration of May.
The third event, my favorite event, the execution of the king. Louis XVI was a very selfish and careless king, and he was hated by his subjects. While Louis XVI wanted to be a good king and help his subjects, he faced enormous death and rising resentment towards despotic monarchs. Louis XVI and Marie Antoinette, his wife, were executed for treason. His children were executed later as well. Many reasons led up to his execution. The main reason was that Louis had failed to address French financial problems, instigating the French Revolution that eventually descended upon him, and also he couldn't win lots of battles against nearby countries. For example, in April 1792, he failed to invade Austria, which led to the creation of Convention. His wife, Marie Antoinette, was not a great queen too, and she was also one of the reasons for French bankruptcy, and she also led to the Women's March on October 5th, 1789. The fourth and the last key event of the revolution was the Reign of Terror. The Reign of Terror happened in 1793, July to 1794. And it was caused by the creation of a new government, which was a convention and shortage of food. Also, over 17,000 people that disliked the new government were executed by guillotine. And in July 1793, Marat died, who was the leader of radical Montaigne faction. After the Reign of Terror, Napoleon, who was a military leader of France, started to gain power. And in 1804, finally, he became the first emperor of France.